I think the lasso guard is one of the first open guards that people should start playing with. Not only does it have a lot of the same benefits as the closed guard, you can kind of keep them stuck to you, but it's also omoplata city. There are a lot of terrific omoplata setups from here. The first technique I'm going to show from the lasso is my personal favorite omoplata setup. It's safe, it's effective, it looks a little fancy, but it's actually not that complicated, and when you hit it, it's really, really high percentage. We'll go over a couple of other setups from the lasso as well. So, first, how to set up the lasso guard. A lot of different lasso setups. From the closed guard though, I'm going to get 2 sleeves, step on the hip, angle my body out. My leg comes over, and my instep is going to tuck right behind his armpit. I want to keep a nice tight connection. Really important now, you see how I moved my hips out with my left hip in the air? Now I'm going to reset my hips, pointing my pelvis to the ceiling and angling my knee out. When I do that, I'm going to turn my palm up like Spider-Man shooting a web, whip, whip. Because Eric's defense to the lasso and how he can disrupt it is trying to circle this hand out. It's very difficult. But if I let my knee tension get a little loose, or if my hand position changes, now we're right back to where we started. So, one more time. 2 sleeves, step on the hips, angle out, leg comes over top. My instep is basically hugging the back of Eric's shoulder. My knee angles out and my palm faces the ceiling. Now what do I do with this leg? As long as I'm controlling inside space, it doesn't really matter. One of 2 things that I would be doing here, stepping on the hip and getting the same push-pull control we did for the previous technique, keeps me attached to Eric. So if Eric moves around, you'll see that I stay stuck there. It's a really, really difficult guard to pass. I can also be doing what's called the spider lasso, where I step on the bicep, and again, I'm going to affect his posture while also controlling inside space. You can hit this technique with either of those 2 foot positions. I prefer to have my foot on the hip just for rotational pressure. So here's the thing, when I'm ready, I need to be controlling Eric's posture. So I'm going to give up this grip and come to the near side collar with a cross grip. Now you still want to be controlling inside space, so if he tries to pummel inside, we have to defend, right? Either with our knee or with our foot. Now 3 things are going to happen at once. I'm going to let go and come behind his elbow. I'm going to pull with my collar and flare his elbow. So both of these grips are going to pull toward the camera while I kick the leg straight. I'm going to push off with my right leg, and if I can, rotate all the way in position to face the camera while I lock the legs. Right for the omoplata. We'll break that down and do it a bit slower. I start with 2 sleeves, feet on the hips, angle my hips out, leg comes over, hug the back of his shoulder with my instep, turn my pelvis to the ceiling and my palm to the ceiling while I angle my left knee out. I'm controlling inside space by stepping on the hip, flaring my knee out. I can also do this with the spider lasso. And maybe I'll do one version of it with the spider lasso just to show that it works both ways. When I'm ready, give up this grip and come to the cross collar, which helps me both control posture and get some of my rotation. I'm going to push off with this leg. I'm going to do it slow this time as I peel and kick the leg straight. And as you can see, the sort of rotation that I get allows my leg to come into his head. Now usually, I will lock my legs and stomp down here. There's another finish in the transition that we'll get into later in the DVD. Come to the elbow, come to the pants, and from there we do our standard flatten and finish. But let's break this down in another way. 2 sleeves. On the hip, hips come out. Leg comes over and in. Knee angles out, pelvis points to the ceiling. I'm controlling inside. What if my partner tries to pull back with his left leg and I can't keep, or with his left arm and I can't keep this type of tension? I'll step on the bicep, come to the collar. Now if Eric tries to swim back inside, I still have a lot of control with my foot on his bicep. Even without the grip, I'm able to maintain inside space and I don't have to do it forever. The collar is going to pull like I'm doing a collar drag, and I'm going to come right behind his elbow and I'm going to flare it like I'm opening a French door while I kick my leg straight. Sorry about the back of your head. So there's another finish that we'll get into here where I come across and I get under his far armpit. But for now, let's not worry about that. Let's just remember that later in the instructional. Stomp down to make sure he can't posture. Come to the elbow, come to the pants. Flatten, chop, finish. That last lasso position is very powerful. It's a very difficult guard to pass and people make a lot of mistakes in it. I like another couple of things about it. First, if I ever choose to, I can give up the lasso and go back to the closed guard, which is an option. And second, most people are concerned with the arm that you have lasso. And that's a valid concern because as we've just seen, we can attack that arm. But there's also a really powerful attack on the far side arm as well, and we're going to get into that next.